Each morning, every single one of us goes to work, knowing that we're working for something bigger.
United with a single purpose, helping our customers create connections.
Bringing content to people, bringing people together.
For more than 60 years, we've helped deliver media all over the world with the power to change and define people. A power so strong, yet hard to define, that we just call it magic.
Our drive and vision have positioned us among the leaders in the industry. With expertise that's trusted with the most valuable content in the world.
Our technology fosters connections worldwide, helping creators tell stories that bring people together.
Helping them delight and entertain, creating connections.
At Grass Valley, we innovate efficiently and empower creatives to bring people together through media.
That's our magic.
I am Grass Valley.
Je suis Grass Valley.
I am Grass Valley.
I am Grass Valley.
We create connections.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us for GV Live Presents Innovate 2020. I'm Gina Phillips, and I'll be your host for the next hour or so as we present some of the most exciting news and stories that Grass Valley has ever told. During this show, you'll see interviews, customer testimonials, and hear from Grass Valley technology leaders as they introduce you to a range of solutions that will help you increase your efficiency and creativity today, while giving you the power and flexibility you need to take on the challenges of the future. Our show is being produced live, by the way, using revolutionary new Grass Valley technology that you'll be hearing a lot more about throughout the program. And we'll be connecting you with Grass Valley folks from around the globe. But first, a little housekeeping and logistics to get out of the way. As we've all learned way too well during this crisis, the quality of your viewing experience during our show today is heavily dependent on the bandwidth of your connection. We recommend that you use Chrome or Firefox browsers using theater mode. And if you experience any issues, just try disconnecting and logging back into the event. All right, now I'd like to introduce you to a very special guest, Grass Valley's president, Tim Shoulders, here to help me set the stage for today's show. So Tim, how does it feel to be live?
Hi Gina, I am super excited to be here with you today. When we knew that our normal spring cadence of marketing events and trade shows were going to be disrupted by this world health crisis, we at Grass Valley knew we needed to do something different. And today, I think you'll see a show that's much different than typical, and you'll see something that's really special.
I can't wait to get started, but first I think we need to talk about what's on everybody's mind is the pandemic. So why don't you address that before we get going?
Sure. First of all, my sympathies go out to those who may have been impacted or had a family member or loved one impacted by the coronavirus. We also know that there are a large number of folks in our media community that have had their livelihoods disrupted, and it's very important that we acknowledge their pain. From GV's perspective, we're doing everything we can to protect the health and welfare of our employees and ensure business continuity in these difficult times. Fortunately, 95% of our service and support can be performed remotely, so we've been able to amp that up to 100% during this time. We also have been able to maintain business continuity and retain our talented workforce, and they continue to innovate.
What specific measures have you put in place to help your customers deal with this unprecedented situation?
Yeah, we really want to help our customers transition from their normal operations to their workflows, work from home or their remote operation workflows. So we've done a few things. First, we've offered discounted licenses. for our customers who use our editing products and our asset management products. Secondly, we've offered discounted parts and discounted spare parts and technical support. And then finally, for freelancers who are especially hit hard by the lack of live sporting events, we've offered them avenues for training so they can hone their skills while we all wait the return of live events.
There's been a lot of interest from our audience about the status of the acquisition. So what can you tell us about it, and are there any updates?
Yeah, like many other parts of our lives, during this crisis, the timeline of our acquisition by Black Dragon has been affected. But fortunately, it's not dramatic. So both Belden and Black Dragon are eager to close the transaction, and we expect the transaction to close this quarter. And I, for one, am excited about working with the Black Dragon team.
Okay, let's talk about today's show. What are the viewers going to see?
First of all, they're going to see how committed Grass Valley is to reliable, versatile, and technologically advanced solutions. We're using our own products today, including a cloud-based production platform we call AMP. AMP is Grass Valley's next step to a fully virtualized software cloud-based workflow. We led in the SDI world, we led the market to IP, and we're going to lead the market to cloud-based production. We're also introducing a concept on today's show called GV Media Universe. GV Media Universe is an elegant series of interconnected services and solutions with GV AMP at its core. We're boldly leading into a software-based future. We want to give our customers the flexibility, scalability, and agility they need to navigate a changing media landscape.
Okay, Tim, thanks for laying it all out for us. It certainly sounds very intriguing. Okay, before we get started, a quick note about interacting with us during the show. So you'll notice that there's an area on the right side of your interface that enables you to enter any questions you might have. We'll have Grass Valley experts on hand throughout the show to answer most of these. And if your question isn't addressed during the program, just check back in a day or two and we'll be sure to get them all answered, or we'll be following up directly with you. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to get started? It's time for you to learn more. Welcome to Innovate 2020. Okay, we have a lot we want to show you today, so let's get right to it. The first topic on our agenda is IP, or more specifically, we're going to take a closer look at how Grass Valley is uniquely capable of connecting an entire workflow using the flexibility and scalability of IP, even using it to connect live production workflows. So, IP, while it's certainly something that continues to draw a lot of interest from a lot of broadcasters and content providers. And as I mentioned, it's now ready for an end-to-end live workflow. Here to discuss this and more about IP from Grass Valley, we're joined today by Sydney Lovely, Senior VP of Technology and Networking, live from Hillsboro, Oregon. Welcome to the show, Sydney.
Thanks, Gina. I'm going to spend a few minutes today giving a quick update on the state of IP technology in the industry and share some of the lessons learned that we at Grass Valley have had over the years. So way back in 2016, the industry was really fragmented with proprietary and incomplete standards until we all came together with the AIMS Alliance to bring it all together. In 2018, we were able to come out with the SMPTE 2110 standards, which was a great start. It covers the basics of media transport, video, audio, ancillary data, and the like. But we can't stop there. You need to really look at full stack IP technology. So this goes all the way from the data movement through timing and synchronization, all the way down and including security considerations. So when you're selecting IP technology, that's the first tip, is make sure to look for full stack IP when you're picking a partner. The second thing that we've learned over time is that the less integration you have to do, the better off you are. So we at Grass Valley are really proud to be really the only supplier on the market with glass-to-glass IP technology. This goes all the way from the acquisition side through production switching, replay, ingest, playout, as well as all the processing and multi-viewing that goes with that. At the heart of our IP system is our GV Orbit control and monitoring solution. This is really unique and different than other things you see on the market, which are control systems that were really built for SDI and then kind of repurposed for IP. This was built from the ground up to harness the power of IP with innovative features like dynamic pathfinding. You'll hear a little bit more from Robert Erickson about that later in the show. So whether your application is playout, news, or live production, we like to think about IP as the on-ramp to the virtualized world. Finally, we've gained a lot of experience over the years. We have over 100 installations worldwide in 15 different countries. And these really range from the largest facilities to the most advanced mobile truck environments. So one thing we've learned, as I mentioned earlier, is that customers save money and get to air faster when they buy more end-to-end solutions from companies like Grass Valley. But don't just take my word for it. Let's hear from All Mobile Video on their advanced all-IP truck they're building with Grass Valley.
Thanks so much, Sydney. Well, as you just heard Sydney mention, All Mobile Video is an exciting story for us, and we thought we'd let you hear more about their recent experience with us. So here's some background. All Mobile Video's newest mobile production unit, Eclipse, will be fully loaded with an end-to-end all-IP workflow entirely from Grass Valley, including our powerful new GV Orbit system orchestrator that enables the most advanced broadcast-centric IP core in the business. When you add in the other Grass Valley solutions, like the Cayenne production switcher and the brand new LDX 100 camera platform, you'll see that All Mobile has truly been inspired by the value of a single vendor solution and the creativity unleashed by Grass Valley Innovations. Here's an online interview we captured recently with our Steve Stubelt, our VP of Sales in the Americas, and our friends from All Mobile Video.
Hi, I'm Steve Stubelt, Vice President of Sales for North America and South America, and have the pleasure today to talk with the team at All Mobile Video. I've known the All Mobile Video team for a long time, but since this is a global broadcast and we'll go out across the world to customers, Eric Duke, I'd like, if you can, to tell us a little bit about All Mobile and a little bit about the business.
Sure. Thank you, Steve. The All Mobile Video is a television production company. We have mobile units. We have rental equipment. We actually started as a rental company, moved into mobile units, and evolved into post-production, studios, transmission, and now have a streaming operation in Los Angeles.
Lee, you've probably been talking about an IP truck for the last couple of years. I know and many times we've had conversations about it. I guess the first question is, why IP now? Why did you feel you were ready? And let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you're doing with that truck.
Well, I think we're going into IP now for several reasons. One of them, of course, is that 2110 has put IP where it needs to be. Having had Grass Valley be a part of Ames, which was a big proponent of putting 2110 into works, certainly goes a long way for Grass Valley. But I think the software, the GV Orbit software with its monitoring capabilities has been the biggest reason we've liked to go with Grass Valley, because IP is a world in which it is going to be the software that makes it fly and makes it work comfortably and efficiently for us.
But I think that answers the question of sort of why now that the technology is ready. So then the other question is, why IP? What does IP bring to you as far as in your environment with your customers and building out along these lines? What's the benefits?
Well, the biggest benefits of IP is that IP is going to be the future of how this industry will be moving its signals. I mean, IP is a transport. You don't need to be concerned with patch bays and DAs and any of that anymore, because it's a broadcasted signal. So once a signal enters the system, it's now broadcasted everywhere. And the IP turns is really a system in the sense that once you add parts, that's how you make the system work. That's why they say the router gets bigger and smaller. But in reality, it's the entire IP system is getting bigger and smaller based on what you're doing. And then as technology improves and increases, we can handle it through added bandwidth and capacity.
Lee, some of those people that you met over the last months and in fact a couple of years, some of them actually are part of our camera team. And our camera team is very excited to be working with the All Mobile group without question. And specifically, Ronnie and Marcel and that team are bringing out a brand new camera. And you had the experience of actually seeing in Breda and spending some time with them. What are your thoughts on that new product, new camera, and kind of how that helps you and some of the things about that product?
Well, the camera being fully an IP camera is phenomenal in the sense that there's no longer a CCU or anything like that in the truck, again, taking up more space and taking it away from our ability to have more production going on. That's certainly a huge plus right there. The camera being an IP camera, of course, means that I can locate that camera pretty much anywhere in the world, or a comparable version of that camera, and operate it from the vehicle as if it was in the vehicle or part of the location we were at. So that flexibility is brought to us by the IP. Also, Grass Valley brought, what they call their grading system.
Color grading system, brand new, right?
It is one of the most phenomenal improvements in the video world that I've seen in recent years. I mean, the grading system is truly delivering on what it says it is. That is the ability to truly be artistically able to paint the camera and truly be able to take all matrixing into account. And when you're talking about HDR, which we're fully vetted and invested in going into, especially, HDR 1080p 60, that grading is critical.
Well, I know you're excited about these products and this technology and excited to launch a new product there. Eric and Lee, I want to thank you for spending time with us. I want to tell you how excited Grass Valley is about working with you, not just on this truck, but the partnership that we're forming to really go forward. And, Eric, I'll give you the last word here.
Well, we're actually looking forward to it as well, and we're actually more looking forward to getting back out in the field and getting our trucks rolling again and out on these projects. And I think that this truck is going to offer our clients a lot of options in terms of this new world that we're going to be going into. So we're very excited and look forward to the continued partnership here.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Later in the show, we'll take you to California and Blizzard Entertainment. But coming up next, GV Orbit and our IP workflow.
Well, you heard Lee from All Mobile Video go into some detail about the benefits he's excited to get from Grass Valley's IP infrastructure, orchestrated and configured using GV Orbit. Well, this new platform is the real core of Grass Valley's IP engine. And here to tell us more about it, joining us live from Grass Valley, California, is Robert Erickson. Robert?
Thank you. Well, I am Robert Erickson. I'm part of the sports and venues team here at Grass Valley. So we're talking about IP infrastructures, and with all the flexibility that IP brings you, it brings a little complexity too, because you have IP connected cameras and multiviewers and servers and switchers and even obviously the IP switch that need to be orchestrated. So Grass Valley's created a product from scratch called GV Orbit that is a unified configuration and control and monitoring tool for your facility. So the whole idea behind GV Orbit is taking that complexity, because in all fairness, do you really want every engineer in your facility to have a Cisco CCNA just to use it? You really don't. So we've taken that complexity, we've abstracted out and made a very easy to use tool set for your facility. And since I talked about Cisco, it's good to talk about what switches are supported by GV Orbit. GV Orbit supports Cisco, Arista, Mellanox, Juniper, and actually quite a few more. So if you have a switch manufacturer I didn't mention, please feel free and we'll be glad to talk to you about it. But one of the main things customers have come to us on is says, hey, we need a solution that's easy to configure, easy to deploy, and easier to maintain. So Grass Valley created a product called GV Fabric. And GV Fabric is a COT switch that from the time you take it out of the box and you plug it into power and you plug it into the GV Orbit ecosystem, that we automatically discover it, and you're online switching on that fabric in about 15 minutes. So now that we have the fabric done, let's talk about sources and destinations and how those all work. So Citi mentioned earlier about the fact that we use open standards and open protocols in our products. Well, GV Orbit's definitely one of the main ones for using that. We fully support AMMO ISO 4 and AMMO ISO 5 in our solution. So as you'll see in this video, when you plug a source into the network via ISO 4, GV Orbit will automatically see it, discover its capabilities, and it'll pop it up on the screen. So all you have to do is click and drag that into your topology, and you're done. Then ISO 5 steps in and handles all of your connection management between Grass Valley products and even third-party products. The last part to talk about is what we call a hybrid environment, meaning not all customers today are going to be all IP day one. Most everybody has SDI infrastructure, and you probably want to still be using those resources. So we have the ability with GV Orbit to fully control your existing SDI facilities. We can control it, we can monitor it, and then we can even tie that into your new IP ecosystem. So what that allows you to do is has a graceful migration plan from SDI into IP, and then we can kind of get you ready for the future and as your new workflows grow with that technology. So I'm sure you probably have a lot more questions about this, so please feel free to reach out to any Grass Valley employee at any time. We'd love to talk to you about it, kind of answer any questions you have. Thank you, and you have a great day.
Coming up next, LDX 100.
Welcome back. Well, now that you know everything about IP, let's talk about how it's applied in live production. And when Grass Valley says live production, of course you know we mean cameras and switchers. Let's take a deeper dive into two of our latest offerings in live production with the debut of our latest platforms in each area. Here to get us started, let me introduce Ronnie Van Giel, our lead product manager for cameras, who's joining us live from the home of our camera development team in Breda, the Netherlands. Hey, Ronnie.
Thank you, Gina, and welcome to beautiful Breda. Here it is, the all-new LDX100, and it's full of new cool features I would love to talk about. The first thing I want to mention is that this camera has IP in its DNA. So this camera body can talk 2110, AMWA, MMOS and all the other open IP standards natively. So you can connect this camera directly to your IP infrastructure without using an XU in the middle. We call this native IP. Normally you would see people adding boxes to add functionality, and we take boxes out. And that's quite significant because normally for a camera like this, you connect it to a 2RU base unit. So if you have an 18 camera truck, you regain instantaneously 36 RU because of native IP. The next thing I want to talk about is that this camera is scalable from a simple HD high-end camera all the way up to Ultra HD triple speed. It also means there's a wide variety of IP bandwidths to cover. So for single speed HD, you would need 10 gigabit, for UHD 25, and if you go to triple speed UHD, of course you need a bandwidth like 100 gigabit per second. Now, how to offer you this flexibility straight from the camera body? We have a solution for that, and that is if you look at the camera side, there's a new thing what we call the SFP bay. If you open the camera, you see the fibers and you can slide in your own SFP of choice and make the connection via the robust SMPTE hybrid fiber straight to your infrastructure. So this gives you the full IP bandwidth flexibility you need for a solution as flexible as this one. Now going from baseband to full native IP of course can be quite a big jump, and that's why we offer you the backwards compatibility with the XU Universe UXF up to single speed UHD. At the back of the XU you have both baseband as well as IP, and you can just migrate from baseband to IP at your own pace seamlessly. Once you are at the full native IP, you can take out the XU and connect the camera directly to your IP infrastructure, and the only thing left of course then is power. And for that we have the all new HPE 300 power supply. It's a power injector that takes the fibers from your IP infrastructure, adds power to the cable, and then you have a SMPTE hybrid cable running for an additional mile to your camera regardless of the way the camera is built up. And that brings me to the next subject. We breathe live. Here it is, the all new in-house developed imager we use inside the LDX100. Inside there are 3 of these capturing the live emotion under all challenging conditions in triple speed UHD. We capture not only in a wider color gamut than you've seen so far, but also still the full dynamic range that gives you native HLG and PQ, as well as S-Log 3 for a more post-production like workflow. Now, of course, with all the creative tools we offer, you need full control under all conditions. And for that, we, of course, have the creative grading solution. So this tablet, with all its interfaces, gives you full control and insights of what numbers mean, how curves are shaped, all the things you really need to understand where you are controlling a complete production remotely or locally. So it puts you in the driver's seat regardless what happens live. Now, using 2/3 inch imagers also means we can use industry standard B4 lenses. And that means you get the full wide zoom range as well as the large depth of field you need for live sports coverage. At the same time, of course, we see a trend that lenses tend to become more and more wide angle. And that means that the lens becomes heavy compared to the camera body. Now we have a solution for that as well, and that is shown here. So we have a hand grip that can zoom backwards and forward depending on the configuration and the build-up of your complete camera. So under all conditions, with all lens types, you have an optimal balance for long working days. In addition, on the top, we have a new high-precision zoom control, and that gives you the full freedom to make any challenging shot with 2 hands and your body. So having this kind of features added makes it really a very nice production tool. If there's one constant in broadcast, it is change. The productions you do a year from now will look different from the ones you do today, both from production format as well as from a connectivity point of view. So how to get the full flexibility you need? Well, part of the new camera is the complete new LDX100 a la carte system that gives you full per feature flexibility. So you can just choose something for forever or a day. So Gina, I hope this gives you an overview of all the things we've added to the new LDX100. It's a camera that feels at home during any stage of the production from start to finish. And to even make it feel at home at the podium, we made it champagne shower proof. Thank you, Gina. Back to you.
Okay, do not spray me with that. Do not. This is the first time I've done my hair since the start of the pandemic. Okay, thanks to Ronnie for that great overview of the LDX100. Now, to continue with our journey into Grass Valley's live production portfolio, we take you to Grass Valley, California, where we're joined by Greg Hutty, Grass Valley's Vice President for Production Switchers. Greg?
Thanks. I'm coming to you live from Grass Valley's training facility at Crown Point. And with me is the guest, special guest, the GV K-Frame XP. The GV K-Frame XP is a no-compromise frame. What does that mean in reality for everyone? It means that the I/O count, in other words, the footprint, 80 by 40, the MEs, 6 possible MEs, are all the same, both in 4K and in HD. And that processing in 4K is true 4K. In other words, full raster 4K, 2160p. What else does it give you? It gives the TD the ability of running this frame just like it did any other K-frame on any surface, Cayenne, Carrera, Corona, and KSP. So that gives anyone can mix and match shows from one place to another, no matter what K-frame it is. Let's take a look inside. So first, you'll see that the XP utilizes the exact same boards that the current X does, which means IP boards and SDI boards. The IP boards, of course, are new with full raster capability and single stream IP for 4K. The SDI boards have the ability of doing 12 gig inputs. And it has a conversion board in SD. So any mix of boards can be all IP, can be all SDI, and can be any mixture of everything. It's got 3 power supplies and great cooling. Spinning it around and taking a look inside, what do we have? We have a central located controller board. We have 2 ME boards. Each ME board has 3 MEs on it. Each ME has 6 keys, and every one of those keys has a 2D DPM with perspective. And it also has the ability of putting in 2 option DPM boards, which gives the ability of having 16 IDPMs. In other words, 3D IDPMs in full raster 4K. So no compromises in the production capability of the XP. We are so excited to bring this to you. Can't wait to talk to you all about it later on. And it's back to you.
Thanks, Greg, for that great overview of the new K-Frame XP. Okay, welcome back to our Montreal studio. We've talked a lot about live production and how Grass Valley enables a true end-to-end native IP workflow for live. But to wrap it all up for you and to discuss where things might be going next for GV and Live, here's Grass Valley's Senior VP for Live Production, Marco Lopez. Marco, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Gina, and a warm welcome to all of you that are joining us here today live. Well, during these challenging times, the market is experiencing unprecedented demand for richer storytelling, especially when you think that sporting events around the world are looking to start up with little or no spectators in the stands, putting additional pressure on the production value while watching at home. Content creators have relied upon and trusted Grass Valley to deliver flexible, expandable, and dependable workflows in live production for more than 60 years. We practically invented live production. There are two themes that make up the announcements you have heard today. The first is unleashing the creative freedom of content creators, and the second is deploying IP across our product range to remove any of those physical barriers between talent, operators, and equipment. As you have heard from Ronnie and Greg, the LDX100 and K-Frame XP have unleashed the full creative freedom that content creators need, even in UHD and HDR productions. With viewer fragmentation as high as it's ever been due to the number of delivery platforms that are out there, our customers are always searching for ways to differentiate their content and make it more compelling to watch. Like the game-winning penalty kick that was just shy of going in. Hence, we have seen an uptick in the volume of 4K and HDR productions, especially in live. Unfortunately, working in 4K and HDR introduces huge workflow restrictions, which ultimately mean higher production costs. In turn, only the top live events are able to justify the return on investment. With the introduction of the LDX100 and the K-Frame XP, the workflow remains the same as working in HD, removing any of those operational inefficiencies. Now, it doesn't end there. We take creativity to the next level with the inclusion of our replay solution, Live Touch. As you've seen, we're now supporting single stream, full raster processing across the entire production range, and this includes Live Touch. With built-in support for SDR and HDR and full up-down cross-mapping, we have put creative versatility back at your fingertips. Now, if we switch gears for a second and look at the second theme that I spoke to you about earlier, we see that flexibility is not limited to creativity alone. With built-in native IP, we give you enormous flexibility in connectivity as well. IP adds scale and removes barriers, such as how we've been using it to build the world's largest REMI and at-home productions. But as we take stock of what the pandemic has taught us, our resiliency needs to go even further. A type of what I call personnel resiliency needs to now be part of the calculus, where operations people may not all be in the same control room. The producer, the TD, director, graphics operator may all be in different locations, remotely monitoring and controlling the live show. IP is an important stepping stone to bring our live production offering to the cloud. In our next segment, you'll get a preview of how we believe both Tier 3 and Tier 4 productions will soon be entirely virtual, and how Grass Valley is helping our customers to make it happen.
Coming up next, GV Media Universe.
from one great guest to another. Tim Shoulders is back in the studio with me. Tim, I think this is the part in the program where we start to kind of blow the viewers' minds a little bit.
Gina, I'm extremely gratified to be here with you today because this is a world that our technologists have been, and a story our technologists have been working on for a long time. And our development has been going on for nearly 2 years. Today we're launching GV Media Universe and GV AMP, our agile media processing platform. GV Media Universe is Grass Valley's vision for the future that it will give our customers complete control over the customization of their media factories in the cloud. GV Media Universe is the concept that will take us to the cloud.
Well, let's get to it then. Here's a closer look at the GV Media Universe.
Everyone knows that the explosion of content options for consumers has dramatically changed the media landscape. This situation has placed traditional media companies in a difficult position: deliver more content to more platforms for little, if any, additional revenue. Costs have gone up, but has the return on that investment gone up in turn? No. In fact, the return on that investment, or the yield per content asset, has gone down as content creators and distributors fight to win over a fixed number of viewers. Media companies need to find a way to increase revenues while reducing costs. To do that, they need to identify new revenue streams and increase efficiency. But how do they do that when they have millions of dollars invested in static, inflexible technology, and the promise of software-based or even cloud-based workflows seems elusive and fraught with challenges? Introducing the GV Media Universe, a comprehensive ecosystem of cloud-based tools and services interconnected with existing solutions, partner offerings, and a community of marketplaces that promises to revolutionize the way you think about making media. Now, content developers and media organizations can create content more efficiently and get far greater yield per asset than has ever been possible. At the core of Grass Valley's media universe is GV AMP, the Agile Media Processing Platform, the first cloud-based SaaS platform that leverages modern elastic computing technologies developed specifically to address broadcasters' main concerns about a transition to the cloud. This revolutionary platform leverages the power of elastic compute to provide unprecedented flexibility to spin up or spin down applications as needed, and pay as you go, even in traditionally costly live production environments. GV AMP is easily deployed on any public cloud environment, or even run on-premise in a data center or in hybrid configurations. GV Media Universe takes GV AMP and surrounds it with other services and solutions that work in concert to extend a media company's reach with no additional friction. GV Media Universe is built to enable you to transition at your own pace, leveraging your existing GV investments by connecting them to AMP. There's also a consistent interface that can be used for every tool in your GV arsenal that delivers a rich, intuitive user experience developed using modern UX paradigms. Like any true ecosystem, GV Media Universe excels thanks to the mutually dependent nature of its parts. This is most notable in the smooth integrations with GV's Technology Alliance partners, whose solutions are available within the Universe marketplace. These services and products are pre-qualified, enabling a simplified purchase and deployment experience to enhance your GV workflow. Experience the GV Media Universe as it comes to life, enabling you to create, control, and connect media like never before. It's time to change everything you thought was unchangeable.
Sounds awesome. Tim, what do you tell people when they say, what's the catch? This looks too good.
Well, I would tell them that Grass Valley took a different approach with this one. Oftentimes in this market, companies will lead with the hype. In this case, Grass Valley led with the development. GV Amp delivers today a software-based toolkit for media in the cloud. And we're introducing it with a customer who has been on air for 2 months. I'm really excited to announce that Blizzard Entertainment has been using GV Amp to produce shows. So let's let Blizzard answer the question and tell us what they have to say about GV Amp.
AMP is completely changing the production workflow on our multi-site show locations.
If there was ever some type of emergency and I'm at home and all my coworkers got sick, they could call me, I could boot up my laptop and do it from home.
It's super easy scaling. For the most part, all we do is spin up another instance.
I believe AMP is the future of television broadcasting.
Blizzard Entertainment is a company that's basically focused on digital experiences, and that includes things such as gameplay as well as esports.
So the main thing we were looking for that brought us to Grass Valley Master Control is being geo-agnostic and flexible. So we're traveling across the world, we need to take video from various different places, and we need to be able to switch that in any location we need it. And AMP was the perfect solution for that because we have the ability to aggregate our video in the cloud where it's going already from LA, from our sites across. We don't have to bring it back down into a new centralized facility. It stays in the cloud. Our operators pull up a web-based interface and they can switch between these feeds with no delay, without needing to add an extra encode cycle or anything crazy like that. So that's what really drew us to it, is that we already had so many workflows in the cloud, and the ability to stay in the cloud to do switching was incredible for us.
So we live broadcast Overwatch League in multiple languages. We use AMP to actually insert localized versions of all those sponsorships and ads and other production elements into every single language stream. And we see AMP continuing to allow us to expand our global footprint with additional language broadcasts more efficiently.
AMP is very much a key and integral part of our workflow now. It provides key sponsorship obligations that we have, so we're able to localize sponsorships from, we may have an ad that's different in the United States versus in Korea.
It's super easy scaling. For the most part, all we do is spin up another instance. We can continue spinning up instances and move appropriately. So it doesn't matter how many singles you have. You could have 1, you could have 10, you can have 300. It doesn't matter. We're scaling instances at that point in the cloud, which allows us to basically seamlessly monitor and move through the processes that we normally have for all of our esports related broadcasts.
AMP is completely changing the production workflow on our multi-site show location. So in an average weekend right now for Overwatch League, we have 2 live productions running on the road, and in addition, we have our desk show. We can actually use AMP, and we are today, to integrate all of those shows together with unified sponsorship delivery, multi-language delivery, and the production workflows have improved dramatically in that way.
Transitioning into this was pretty neat because the first time I heard about it, I thought, I don't know. I'm kind of in that old school of I want everything plugged in all the time right in front of me on hardware. So hearing that it's all in the cloud and it's going to be across the world and we're dealing with latency from a million different places, I was a little hesitant. But the way that it's designed and the way that it all comes in and communicates and talks to each other and actually times out all that latency is really, really awesome.
Learning curve is basically non-existent. You sit down at this thing, you can see that you've got your sources and you've got a take button just like you would in any other master control anywhere.
So one of the more surprising ways that AMP has helped us outside of just the master control and the switching is we have the ability now to create multi-viewers in the cloud, which we didn't have before. And we can also provide low latency feeds to partners across the world. I think what's most exciting to me about AMP is the platform itself, the open APIs and the ability for us to build our own interfaces and automation against it. So you don't have to use the tools exactly as the vendor provides them. If you want to build your own workflows and automate that, if you have software developers like we do and you want to try to innovate on top of what is already an innovative product, they've given us the ability to do that. And so now we're talking about a world where we can spin up and spin down resources with a single click.
We had very high quality standards that were set at the very beginning of this project, and we've been really happy with AMP's performance.
Grass Valley has been awesome. They've been great partners. The AMP project to work on with Grass Valley has been an awesome experience. I believe AMP is the future of television broadcasting, and it won't just be an influence on esports, but it's also going to be, I feel, an industry disruptor for large television operators.
Okay, Tim, that is one happy customer.
You bet, Gina. Blizzard has been a great partner for us. They pushed us, they helped us really hone in the product and make it strong. Reliability for us is paramount, so it was really important that we had an on-air customer prior to launching GV Amp publicly. I'd like to introduce you to one of the technical masterminds on the GV Amp project, Mike Cronk. Mike, what do you say?
Thank you, Tim. You know, elastic compute has been an incredible technology in so many industries and has really transformed how television is delivered via OTT services. But when we look at the penetration of elastic and the usage of elastic compute in live production, it really hasn't gotten anywhere. And why is that? Well, there's many obstacles, both technologically and business. Latency, how do we manage it? How do we scale I/O in the cloud? And what does the business model really look like? These are just some of the obstacles that we face. But I'm happy to tell you today that at Grass Valley, we are introducing the Agile Media Processing Platform, or AMP for short. It is the industry-first application that leverages the power of elastic compute for production and even live production. It's truly distributed. Compute and operators can be located anywhere in the country you want them to be, anywhere in the world. Applications, even entire control systems, can be spun up and down and used only when you need them. And it works on a SaaS or pay-as-you-go model. You want to know how much a show costs? You want to know that your show costs align with revenue? You can, because AMP makes it easy to track that. The power of AMP is in its 5 core technologies that are bolstered by 17 patents. Intelligent media fabrics, intelligent timing management, intelligent connectivity, intelligent media identity, and intelligent media streaming. While these technologies power AMP's ability to tackle live production in the cloud, there's no power if you can't harness that capability. And so AMP presents each operator with an intuitive, easy to understand set of user interfaces that enables seamless production. And the proof of AMP's power can be seen actually in this production. We're producing GV Live in 7 sites and across 2 continents. In fact, I'd like to introduce you to some of the technical team behind the curtain, if you will. So in Montreal, we have our director, Bill. In Fort Myers, Florida, our TD, Michael. And in Antwerp, Belgium, AMP's own director of product management, who's moonlighting as a tape operator, running 3 clip players, is Larissa. And in the UK, Grass Valley's chief application designer, Ian Fletcher, is on graphics and audio. And I'd like all of us to give them a virtual wave. A very impressive proof point of the power of AMP is with our first customer, Blizzard Entertainment. And we're thrilled today to have Corey Smith, Director of Live Operations, with us. Welcome, Corey.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
We saw a video describing what Blizzard did with AMP for Master Control a little bit earlier in the show. But since COVID-19, you've really used AMP much more. Can you tell our audience about how you've been using AMP for distributed remote production?
Sure. So the AMP product itself, like you said, originally we had brought it in for doing Master Control. In our 2020 esports seasons for Overwatch League, it's a home and away model. So we have our sports teams traveling to other cities and so on. So we needed a solution in cloud to allow us to cut between our halftime show and the shows that we were producing out of the venues, which worked out fantastically. So once the pandemic kind of hit, we were stuck with what do we do with keeping our broadcasts on the air. And so we continue to leverage the power of AMP to bring all of our contributors, from their homes into our broadcasts and begin mixing in the cloud. So it allowed us to stay on the air. It allowed us to continue to wow our community and our fans.
That's fantastic, Corey. Let's talk about the operational staff. How has that transition been for them? They're used to working on certain equipment, moving to AMP. What's that transition been like?
The transition has been pretty smooth. We've had to more or less train them on the new workflows in cloud, it's a little bit nuanced from coming from a production truck world or physical like TV studio environment. But within a few weeks, they had their legs underneath them, and we've realized our venue show is running very seamlessly in the cloud.
Well, that's great, Corey. And just I wanted to say on behalf of Grass Valley, we're thrilled to be partnered with Blizzard in the development of AMP. It's been a tremendous experience, and we're very excited and grateful for the contributions of Blizzard Entertainment.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and we can't thank Grass Valley enough for the partnership and the allowing us to get a little crazy with the technology and move the world forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corey.
You're welcome, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike and Corey, for sharing the exciting news about GV AMP and the amazing flexibility it's providing for Blizzard. That was awesome. But AMP, as Mike mentioned earlier, is much more than just a platform. Here's Neil Maycock, our Senior VP of Strategic Marketing and Playout, to tell you more.
Thanks, Gina, and hello, everyone. I'm Neil, and I look after Grass Valley's marketing and our Playout business. I want to pick up on a very important aspect of AMP that was touched on earlier, AMP Connected. This is where the GV Media universe extends far beyond the exciting applications you've just been hearing about. It's how AMP can be leveraged by the wider Grass Valley portfolio, our customers and our partners. So what is AMP Connected? It's a range of solutions from Grass Valley's existing portfolio that integrate with AMP. Also for partner applications that integrate with AMP. To explain what this means, I think what we're doing in the Playout business is a great example of AMP Connected. We have a native AMP Playout solution in the final stages of development, and that will be on air with our first customer early this summer. But this is a complementary addition to the Playout portfolio, and we continue to invest in the current products to expand what we can do with them. Morpheus Ice and ITX are being made AMP Connected, which will open up the GV Media universe to existing and future users of these products. Let's look at ITX as an example. What we're doing here is adding the ability for ITX to read and write media directly into the AMP frame cache. This is the internal mechanism that distributes real-time media within AMP. Once we have this level of integration, we can then, for example, add the AMP Master Control solution you've just heard about into an ITX system for better handling of live programming. But as I said, Playout's just an example. Grass Valley will be adding many more of our solutions to the AMP Connected family. These include production and media management capabilities with Stratus, and importantly for live operations, we'll be adding hardware control services such as switcher panels and also replay panels. So AMP Connected not only extends the GV Media universe, it's also a great on-ramp for our existing customers to start leveraging its benefits. Of course, as broad as Grass Valley's portfolio is, there are many areas of functionality we don't address. So AMP Connected extends the GV Media universe beyond our portfolio through working with partners. Last year we launched the Grass Valley Technology Alliance, and through this program our partners will now be able to develop integrations that are certified to work with AMP. This completely opens up the GV Media universe, providing our customers with trusted and proven end-to-end solutions. Well, I hope that's given you a small taste of why AMP Connected is so important, and with that I'll hand back to you, Gina.
Thanks, Neil. Well, we've reached the end of the show, and we certainly hope you've enjoyed watching. I'm going to toss it over to Tim for closing remarks. Tim?
Thanks, Gina. You know, we know live production is hard, and live production is especially hard in a social distancing world, and our customers know it too. So I want to thank all the viewers who stuck with us through any wrinkles in the production. I also want to thank the production crew who has worked really hard to put a very massive, complex production together with all the social distancing guidelines. I do think it would be appropriate for me to say a few words about the COVID-19 situation. So first of all, my sympathies and the sympathies of all of the Grass Valley team go out to anybody who has been impacted or has a loved one impacted by COVID-19. Certainly these are difficult times, and they're also difficult for those who may have been economically disadvantaged. by the COVID-19 virus and have had their livelihoods disrupted. And in the media business, that unfortunately is many of us. So I think it's important we take a second to acknowledge everybody's pain.
Definitely. Well, it is the end of our show, but it isn't the end of the GV Live experience. First off, a full replay will be posted tomorrow if you wish to watch it again. And we'll be following up with you over email, and we'll include a link to make it easy for you to get to the GV landing page. In addition to the replay, we'll also be posting more content to this site over the coming weeks, starting tomorrow. So please check back often. You'll be able to get more detailed information about many of our newest solutions and even use this interface to ask questions directly to our product experts. Finally, we truly hope that this experience has been helpful, but of course, we realize that this short program is no complete substitute for a hands-on demonstration or a one-on-one conversation with one of the product experts. So we've included a simple way for you to request a demonstration with a simple form within each product category on the GV Live site. Just simply fill out the short form and someone from our team will be in touch to set up further interactions with you. We'll even be delivering fully virtual product demonstrations. Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today. Everyone at Grass Valley appreciates your time, and we really wish you good health and a quick return to normalcy for all of us. Bye-bye.